Today, on the shadows of the internet, we honor the life of a creator whose talents spanned music, gaming, athletics, and online communities. A young man whose life was tragically cut short at just 23. This is the story of Reuben Kee En Rui, better known online as Ryu, the Singaporean musician, MUGEN developer, dragon boat paddler, and part-time model. Reuben Kee was born on July 9, 1984 in Singapore, to parents Patsy Kee and Freddie Kee, Tiam Hock. From an early age, Ryu displayed a rare combination of creativity, intellect, and athleticism. Fluent in both English and Chinese, he cultivated a love for music and an interest in digital media that would later define much of his online presence. Ryu's musical talent was exceptional. A self-taught pianist, he began by reimagining video game music and eventually created original compositions. His work ranged across genres, from orchestral arrangements to electronic, rock, jazz, and techno. In 2003, he reached the finals of Yamaha's Magic Fingers contest, showcasing not only his technical skill, but also his expressive musicality. During his time at Nanyang Polytechnic, Ryu served as president of the piano ensemble and composed the soundtrack for To Speak, a film based on the life of a young Cambodian girl living in a rural village. But music was only part of Ryu's story. He joined YouTube on September 8, 2006, and quickly gained attention for videos that highlighted both his musical prowess and his creative ambition. Ryu often uploaded piano performances of his compositions and remixes of video game music, drawing an audience that appreciated both his technical skill and his artistic vision. On February 1st, 2007, he released The Making of Dragon Claw, a video showcasing the development of his original MUGEN character. He demonstrated his 3D modeling, animation, and rendering techniques while performing a medley of his original score, Arise Dragon, on piano. Fans were captivated by the precision, creativity, and imagination that went into his work. Within the MUGEN community, Ryu became a legend. He crafted highly detailed versions of Evil Ryu and Evil Ken, while Dragon Claw became his signature creation, entirely original with its own theme, animations, and combat moves. His contributions were widely celebrated, not only for their technical skill, but also for the passion and care he poured into his creations. Members of the community described him as generous with his knowledge, always willing to mentor newcomers and share insights. Outside of music and gaming, Ryu was a dragon boat paddler, representing Singapore in national competitions. He also practiced sprint kayaking and volunteered as a swimming instructor for children with disabilities. His discipline, teamwork, and leadership made him a respected figure both on and off the water. Friends and teammates remember his infectious energy, optimism, and the way he encouraged everyone around him to push their limits. One teammate wrote, "Ryu was more than a paddler. He was the heart of our team. He pushed himself and all of us to do better, and he did it with a smile. Losing him was losing a brother." Despite his rising success online and in his athletic pursuits, tragedy struck on November 23, 2007. Ryu was competing in a dragon boat race on Tonle Sap, Cambodia, when his team's boat collided with a moored tugboat. The vessel capsized, and 5 members of the Singaporean crew, including Ryu, were swept under the water. Attempts to rescue the paddlers were hampered by strong currents, and Ryu's life was tragically lost at just 23 years old. News of his death shocked not only his family, but the many communities he had touched online. 2 days later, his passing was formally announced on the MUGEN Fighters Guild, leaving fans, friends, and collaborators in mourning. The response from the online and offline communities was immediate and heartfelt. Fans from the MUGEN and Overclocked remix communities poured out tributes, celebrating his creativity, generosity, and his impact. In forum posts, users shared stories of how Ryu had inspired them. Ryu was a brilliant musician and a kind soul. His music touched many, and his creations in MUGEN inspired countless others. He will be missed. I met Ryu once at a small convention. He was so humble, yet so passionate about everything he created. He made you believe in your own art. And finally, Dragonclaw wasn't just a character. It was Ryu's heart. Every pixel, every note of music, he poured himself into it, and it showed. Even casual viewers and critics acknowledged his influence. Many described discovering his work as transformative, motivating them to learn piano, start creating characters, or experiment with digital art. His YouTube channel became a hub for young creators seeking inspiration, while his contributions to Overclocked Remix are still referenced today as examples of technical mastery and emotional resonance in video game music arrangements. Ryu's story also reached those outside the gaming and music communities. Dragon Boat teammates, classmates, and friends shared personal memories of his kindness, his mentorship, and his humor. One former student he taught to swim wrote, "He never made anything about himself. Every lesson, every piece of music he shared, it was about helping someone else find their confidence. That is what made him extraordinary." Even years after his death, Ryu's legacy continues to inspire. His website was maintained for a time by his family and remains preserved in archives. His compositions, piano performances, and MUGEN characters continue to be shared, studied, and enjoyed by new generations. For many, Ryu represents a reminder of what it means to live with passion, to push creative boundaries, and to leave a lasting impact even in a life that was far too brief. Ryu's story is a reminder of both the fragility of life and the enduring power of creativity. He lived fully across multiple passions, music, athletics, and digital art, and in each, he left a mark of excellence. He bridged worlds, the digital and the physical, the athletic and the artistic. Even in his brief life, Ryu demonstrated that talent and determination can create ripples far beyond what we see on the surface. His untimely death was not just the loss of a creator, it was the silencing of a voice that celebrated ingenuity, discipline, and the joy of sharing one's passions with the world. Yet through the music he composed, the characters he designed, and the memories he left behind, Reuben Kee continues to inspire, reminding us of the beauty, the creativity, and the courage that one individual can bring into the world. This has been another episode of Shadows of the Internet. We release new episodes every Wednesday, exploring the stories behind the screens, from creators who innovate to the legacies they leave behind. Stay curious, stay compassionate, and stay safe out there, Shadowers.